a lot of time with the letters, the notes that I get from people, and I'm going to be using some of your commentary in podcasts, and any questions that you may have, I may answer them in a podcast. But I'm so grateful to have KarenHunterShow.com. KarenHunterShow.com, because I get comments from people like the one I got from Marcus. Marcus said, "Hey Karen, the fairness doctrine no longer applies in the United States. I had mentioned last week that we are governed by, a doctrine that makes us have to have on people from both sides if they're running for office. And I knew that was wrong after I said it, but then it's 3 hours and I forgot. But Marcus reminded me that it no longer applies. You don't have to have both sides. You don't have to talk to both sides." And he's absolutely right. The FCC, he said, stopped enforcing in 1987. And I actually kind of remember that because I believe that somebody's son was the head of the FCC at the time, and it allowed Rupert Murdoch to buy up all of these different media outlets in one market, New York to be exact. And Marcus said it was removed from the Federal Register in 2011, and that's why you have Fox News and other right-wing only outlets. He is absolutely correct. So I am grateful. One of the things I love so much about sitting here is that there's so many brilliant people listening. This audience I know doesn't exist anyplace else. Y'all are some of the most informed, most amazing, most human being type people I've ever experienced. And I love it. I love it. I love it. So also got a nice letter from a lady named Jenny. So I'm just going to read some letters that people sent and left at KarenHunterShow.com. And they hit the comments. "Hi, Miss Hunter. I just want to start by saying I found and listened to your show today for the very first time and was elated. I'm a non-practicing white woman. I'm actually loving that better than melanemic because she's saying something. I'm a non-practicing white woman who is a blue dot in a red bubble. Plainly put, it sucks. And listening to you today made sitting in traffic amazing." Must have been on a Friday. Yes. Well, Friday's going to be amazing. Shout out to Roderick Morrow and all of the Friday people. Jenny said, "I really appreciate your willingness to not mince words. You spoke the truth and you owned it. And I love that you refuse to bend in any way, especially so this wasn't a Friday, especially in regards to Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm constantly screaming about how these disgusting losers jump on whatever train suits them in the moment. I call it the John and Ken phenomenon." John and Ken. "Although they weren't the first to do it, it was the first time I witnessed the blatant lack of actually standing on any business of what they preached. You really just spoke truth today, and I felt compelled to write you and tell you you rock, and I will tune in regularly. Thanks, Jenny. And don't think I'm only going to read good letters. Today I will, though. Today is only good. And I thank you, Jenny. Welcome to the family. Now, let's talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene, who announced this weekend that she will be resigning from Congress. She said she's leaving.
Population.
Yeah, but the timing of it is lining up with something that doesn't quite look like someone that's doing it because, Trump. Smith, did I pull her because she put out a whole video, and I might have consciously said I don't want to hear out of her mouth. Yeah, I didn't pull that clip. Y'all can find it though, because I didn't believe it. If I'm being honest, I do believe that this president is probably harassing her in her way. And she feels harassed. But as Jasmine Crockett, who was asked about it, said, she's not going through what I'm going through. And if she can't stand up to Trump, then she can't stand up for the people, which is basically, I'm paraphrasing, but I think I said it powerfully too, that if you can't stand up to the ether of this man, basically withdrawing his support from you, Jasmine Crockett is getting inundated every single day by Trump and his MAGA minions. And she's still out there standing on business. If you can't stand up for the people in this time, then you should sit down. But why are you sitting down now? It appears that it is advantageous for her to leave now, and she could leave with a church finger up because she has profited greatly. As a matter of fact, I do have a clip from someone who kind of broke down what they believe Marjorie Taylor Greene, why she's leaving now, and basically is she corrupt? I don't know. Play the Gray Canary, Smiz.
Do not fall for the deceit of Marjorie Taylor Greene. She has not had some change in character or understanding of the political system. She is the worst, most corrupt part of the political system. Let me give you some numbers. Joe Biden was a senator for decades. He was a vice president. He was the president. At age 80, he was worth roughly $15 to $20 million, somewhere in there, based on his tax returns. The most powerful man on the planet for a while. Marjorie Taylor Greene was just a House rep. There's hundreds of them. When she entered Congress in 2021, she had $700,000 to her name. Now she has $25 million. In 4 years, she made $25 million. You will not see that anywhere else in the House of Representatives. And what did she do? Did she pass any legislation? Did she offer policy changes? She didn't do anything. From the start, remember, January 6th, she wasn't even sworn in during the attack on the Capitol. She was front and center. During 4 years of the Biden administration, she fought tooth and nail against everything Biden tried to do. Undercutting deficit reduction, undercutting immigration law, undercutting economic policies, undercutting everything, and being face forward for Trump, Trump's biggest supporter, as he became a convicted felon liable for sexual assault. He had a woman in Congress defending him. She served a purpose. Now that her purpose is done and Trump's in office, she's not interested. She can't even be bothered to finish a 2-year term that she ran for. She was paid to help Trump. That task is done. They've given her the avenue to leave, smiling with a good face and saying, oh, I'm against Epstein. Remember, Trump was always tied to Epstein. She has been a congresswoman for 4 years. She already knew what was in the Epstein files. She didn't just learn anything. Do not fall for Marjorie Taylor Greene's complete, utter, corrupt deceit.
I agree. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez also rang in on the I can't. I'm death threats, and I'm not saying she's not being threatened, but it just also speaks to the party that you so vociferously supported for so many years, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Matter of fact, you were out there chasing down a young man who had watched his classmate shot and killed at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas School in Florida. You were harassing David Hogue out there in the streets before you came to Congress. This has been, embarking like a dog in Congress, being the disruptor, not passing too many bills, not standing for anything. And now you're outraged. This man was an adjudicated sex offender before he was reelected, and you supported that. So you don't care about these victims, not at all. And AOC said this. She said she's carefully timing her departure just 1 to 2 days after her pension kicks in, and after making millions of dollars, which that gentleman just pointed out, insider trading stocks for weapons manufacturers and others while in office. It is something that I know I talk about quite often because I did this book with Keith Ellison. I published it actually, My Country 'Tis of Thee. And spending time with him in Congress, he said the one most distasteful thing about it is the fundraising and how so many people come in with not a lot of money and they leave millionaires. By the way, there are 435 people who are in the House of Representatives. It's not just a couple of hundred. It's 435 House of Representative members, of which she was one. And they all get to insider trade. That should be question number one for anybody running for Congress. J.L. Colvin will be here. He's running for Mikey Sherrill's seat, which is vacated because she's now governor of New Jersey. I'm going to ask him, when you go to Congress, will you vote to stop the insider trading? Matter of fact, I think that's part of his campaign. So I already know the answer. But yeah, they get the insider trade. We don't. And she insider traded. And he said, this guy whose clip I just played, 20 million. There's a figure out there that she's made upwards of 40 million, which is a number that I think we also gave to Venezuela. No, we gave Venezuela 40 billion. My bad. It's a lot of money being thrown around. Anyway, AOC continues. She said, after making millions of dollars, insider trading stocks for weapons manufacturers and others while in office, she is saying a lot, but her actions, and she put actions in all caps, have not backed up the rhetoric. For all her talk, she, Marjorie Taylor Greene, still voting with them to gut health care and advance self-dealing corruption schemes. Didn't she? She voted for the big, beautiful bill. Yes, she did. She did. So while I'm happy she's going, I think, she was intimating that she might be running for governor. She might be running for senator. Somebody said she might be running for president. Please run. Run, Forrest, run. Please, I hope you run. I hope you do run. I think she's going to go spend her money somewhere. I think she's just going to fade into the, I don't know if she can fade into the sunset. Yes, I know we gave, it was Argentina. I said Venezuela. We're targeting Venezuela. We gave Argentina 40 billion. Thank you, Smiths. We correct in real time here, by the way. And I love it because we want to put good information out. And everyone who has a platform should want to put out good information. You should stop yourself in mid-sentence. And if you can get corrected, get corrected. We need to be correct in this time, and I appreciate it. So do y'all care about Marjorie Taylor Greene? I really don't. I don't care, other than she is a symptom of what ails our politics. And it's time for us to elect better people. It is time for us to elect better people. Speaking of Epstein and the culture of pedophilia, which seems to be maybe foundational in this country, Time Magazine put out a report that Meta, which I call Facebook, you could change your name, but I remember, their platforms both made it difficult to report and widely tolerate sexual misconduct with minors or conduct with minors, in a plaintiff's brief filed as part of a major lawsuit against Meta, against 4 social media companies, including Meta, Instagram being another one, which is part of Meta. They reported that they were aware that millions of adult strangers were contacting children on the websites. They knew about it. That its products exacerbated mental health issues in teens. They knew about it. And that content related to eating disorders, suicide, and child sexual abuse was frequently detected, yet rarely removed. What's going on? What's going on? And what are we going to do about it? We have a lot of work. We're going to have to roll up our sleeves and get busy over the next 300 plus days as we head to the midterms. But that is just a little small minor. I won't even call it an annoyance. That's just a little thing that we have to do. The big work has to be in character and accountability. The big work has to be in character and accountability in the mirror. And then it has to be in character and accountability to the people who represent us. Right? We have to raise the bar a little bit, and then we have to hold the line. Yeah, we can't get weary and we can't get tired of fighting for what is right. And we're going to be talking about this on these airwaves, 866-801-8255. And I invite you to have a conversation as I'm watching in real time the President of the United States pivot. Y'all are y'all seeing this? So last week we talked about Zohran Mamdani going to the White House. A lot of y'all were like, what's going on? Is he a Trojan horse? Is he, oh my goodness, is he out of his mind? Why is he going? And I was like, it's politics. New York City needs the $7.3 billion that the federal government has earmarked to go to New York City for infrastructure, trains and buses and all the things that Mamdani has promised he wants to make free and easy and affordable. You're going to need them dollars. He had to go there and not kiss the ring, because I didn't see him kissing a ring, even though there's some intimation that it might have been AI. Somebody honed in on his fingers, and they were like, that looks like AI. I think he was there. I think that they had a conversation, but Trump's reaction to him, and there have been several people commenting on whether the Crown Prince had something to do with the dulcet tones and you can call me a fascist. I was like, what's happening here? Something is happening. Whatever is happening, I do see a pivot, and it could be tied to this man is a grifter, and a grifter knows when the tide has turned. This is, to me, and again, I don't have any proof, verifiable proof, but I feel like he's pivoting in real time, and it's going to give his supporters whiplash, because I feel like he's doing something now, moving towards. All right, I'll give you Exhibit A. Okay, so he hates all immigrants, and especially, well, this is what he put a whole task force together, getting immigrants out. We only want to bring in folk from South Africa, white ones. On Friday, and I missed this because it was Foolishness Friday. On Friday, this president said he is ending deportation protections. He is ending deportation protections for Somalians in Minnesota. Okay, he's terminating effective immediately. Okay, so he was protecting them. Now he's not protecting them. And he accused Governor Tim Walz of overseeing a state that had become a hub of fraudulent money laundering activities, which is absolutely not. So he's standing on business there. Where I was going is this piece that he put up on his social media that I printed out. Now, I'm not watching football because, I'm going to be consistent and I'm going to stand on business. I'm boycotting. I've been boycotting. And I'm going to continue to boycott because I'm going to protect my eyeballs and my clicks and my money and my algorithm. I'm not going to give it to the NFL, which I think is not a good league for us collectively. But I am watching, and I did see that Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders' son, also quarterback for, was it the Cleveland Browns? Yes, quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, who they tried to embarrass and make him feel so bad about himself and had him sat down, even though their starting quarterback was trash, and then the one that replaced the starting quarterback was trash, and they traded the first guy. I'm keeping up on some of it, even though this is not anything that I'm paying attention to with greatness. But I did see Shedeur Sanders play yesterday in all of these news clips, and apparently Cleveland won. And apparently Shedeur Sanders didn't suck. I'm reading that he wasn't like awesome. He wasn't, Jalen Hurts. This is what I'm saying. I'm going to say it like that. But he wasn't, Doug Williams. He wasn't, let me not, anyway. And he beat the team that Tom Brady, who all of the reports are saying was the guy that kneecapped him from being actually drafted higher, Tom Brady, who worked out with him. What a betrayer. He beat the team that Tom Brady co-owns, according to published reports. So why is Donald Trump putting out on his social media, Shedeur Sanders was great, in all caps, wins first game, career start as a pro, for Cleveland, in parentheses, not sure why that need to be in parentheses. Great genes. That's a weird comment, but, eugenicist, of course, is focused on genes. And then in all caps with an exclamation point, I told you so. Smith, you going to tell me this is AI generated? If you tell me it's AI generated. Okay. What is he doing here? Okay, I get he might be friends with Deion Sanders. Is he friends with Deion Sanders? Is he friends with Deion? This is such a complicated, weird thing, which is why having a conversation is about whether Trump is, racist. Yes, but even racists have their special magical exceptions. You're not like the rest of them. They have that group of people that they don't see as the rest of them, or they see them exactly how they are, as useful idiots. I'm going to say it like that, because can you truly be friends with a person like this? I mean, what's the capacity here? But for him to put this out, I feel like he's now dipping over here. Mamdani is very popular. Let me be nice over here. Let me dip over here. It must be confusing. So if you're MAGA and you're listening, how do you feel about this? Well, if you're MAGA and you're listening and Cleveland is your team, then you are rooting for Shedeur Sanders too. How does that square that circle for me? Do you only like us when we're on the fields, baseball, football, basketball, and you can root for us and wear the jerseys with our names, images, and likenesses, but you don't really care about our humanity? And are there just special ones that you put in categories and the rest of us are not like them? So it gives you license to lump all the rest of us in with the out, these are people we don't mess with. Is that how that works? I don't know, but I'm here to hear from you. 866-801-TALK is the number. All right, this is what we're going to talk about today. JL Coven will be with us when we come back. Smith, I'm going to take a break, and when we come back, JL Coven will be with us because I want to log off of the other thing that I'm on right now.